Adversity is a Choice by Dayana Ortiz, virtual presentation. This virtual presentation is about how I use the PSA to write my self-portrait paper. PSA stands for Problem Solving Approach. The P in PSA is for my main problem. The S in PSA is how did I solve my problem? And the A in PSA is what approach did I take in leading up to my solution? How could I go back to college? The main problem is identified. Deciding to start a family before I finished college was a conscious decision, knowing that one day I would find a way back to school, and after 8 years and 2 children later, that promise I made to myself has surfaced. How could I go back to school? The problem is identified. How could I go back to school? Has many challenges. Deciding to start a family before I finished college was a conscious decision, knowing that one day I would find a way back to school. And after 8 years and 2 children later, that promise I made to myself has surfaced. Now, how could I go back to school? How could I afford to pay for a college and maintain a family of 4, one child being a 15-year-old athlete that plays every sport and who will be needing a car soon, a mortgage to pay, and 2 dogs were just a few of the concerns in going back to college. How do other women manage to juggle a family, a career, and continue their education without jeopardizing one's own sanity? Not only is there a financial gamble, there's also a change in the quality of life, not just for me, but for my whole family. I had to search deep to answer the main question: is my college degree worth this sacrifice? The solution is near as I started my research. In my research on ways to pay for college, I learned that ASU's employees have a tuition waiver as a benefit to their salary. I immediately began applying to jobs for my husband. It wasn't too long after my husband's lengthy initial application was submitted by me that he received a call for an interview. Shortly after the interview, he was hired. Weighing out the pros and cons. This is where the solution brings on its own set of problems. Weighing out the pros and cons of putting a huge load on my husband to care for the children and run the house without me was nerve-wracking and not fun, and at times it was even discouraging. Part of solving for the solution to my problem was making a plan of action. I had to draw out a plan of action that the family as a whole was able to see in writing, so that they would trust me that this crazy idea I had of returning back to school would work eventually. They needed a visual glimpse of our future. Climbing mountains is the only way to meet my goals as an approach to my solution. Only with the support of my wonderful husband and children, and my back in school at no cost, with the children and a full-time job. Talk about adversity, but it is also my opportunity. How could I not capitalize on this chance? Having a vision is a very important part of approaching a solution to my problem and maintaining that solution. At times, juggling it all, it becomes very challenging and it tests the very fabric of my goals and decisions. I have to remind myself to slow down and smell the roses, and that it's okay to take a breather every once in a while. I've learned it to be necessary in order to stay focused. Adjusting the plan of action is almost a definite when you have long-term goals, and I've had setbacks and failed terribly, but I kept going. You can try to make a plan of action, but it will never be bulletproof. As an example would be when I had to withdraw in fall 2010 because my workload was too heavy and I couldn't afford to lose my job, but I ramped up for the following semester. Throughout this experience in this writing class, I learned through the PSA that breaking down things and analyzing them and putting them in their place can give us a better glimpse and explanation of our goals and help us perceive our future unwritten documents as far as a set of plans and actions that can come to fruition.